Huda, a light in every home.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأولين والآخرين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to a new edition of your program Ask Huda. In this program we normally receive your valuable questions and concerns, and we do our best to answer them in the light of the Quran and the sound Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In order to do that, we have some contact informations for you, beginning with the phone numbers. Area code 002-0238-555-248 or 249, and the email address is ask@huda.tv. We have some pending questions. We'll go through them while you are trying to dial in, inshallah. Brother or sister Nadeem from India, the name goes for both, is asking, is it permissible to slaughter an animal in the name of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like we do for our dead relatives? Okay, let me explain one thing. When we say slaughter an animal in the name of, then when you fill in the spaces, there is only one word that is valid to write it down there, which is in the name of Allah. You're not allowed to slaughter an animal to consume its meat in the name of anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As a matter of fact, in Surah Al-An'am, which means the cattle, in ayah number 121, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَإِنَّهُ لَفِسْقٌ. And don't you eat from an animal which even lawful for us to consume its meat if the name of Allah was not mentioned at the time of the sacrifice, or if the name of other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been mentioned or recited at the time of sacrifice. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَإِنَّهُ لَفِسْقٌ وَإِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ لَيُوحُونَ إِلَىٰ أَوْلِيَائِهِمْ لِيُجَادِلُوكُمْ. Satan's inspired the disbelievers to argue with the Prophet ﷺ and with the believers pertaining the process of at-tadhkiyah and the sacrifice, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that it is prohibited for us to eat from the dead animal or consume the meat of a dead animal. Let it be a cow, a sheep, a goat, a chicken. If it is dead, if it was suffocated, congested, beaten up, fell off a high place and it died, then it is called dead, maita. Only if it was slaughtered properly and sacrificed in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it becomes lawful for us to eat. So they said, you guys are very weird. This is the inspiration of Satan to the disbelievers, to argue with the believers. They said, how come you eat from something that you kill by your own hand, and you do not eat from something which Allah has killed? This is, of course, an empty argument, because the one who said you eat from this and you do not eat from that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَيْتَةَ وَالدَّمَ وَلَحْمَ الْخِنْزِيرِ. The list of the prohibitions, who made it prohibited? Allah. And He said, if an animal died naturally, or due to falling from a high place, or being suffocated or strangled or killed by any other mean other than the sacrifice, which would cut the jugular veins and drain the blood in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then don't eat from it. And he called this argument is an inspiration or a whisper of a shaitan. So this is number one. Then when I came to read the last phrase of your question, when you said, like we do for our dead relatives, I benefited another meaning, which is that you do slaughter animals but not in the name of the dead relatives. I believe you mean you slaughter them in order to give them in a charity and give the reward of this charity or feeding the poor to your dead relatives. Okay, now the story is different. So it is very important to correct the question first. You cannot say slaughter an animal in the name of the Prophet, only in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will explain the other case after I take a few calls, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, ya Sheikh.
Brother Musa from Nigeria, welcome to Ask Huda.
Thank you, Sheikh. I have a question. With regards to combining Salah, particularly Maghrib and Isha, when it is raining. I've observed that in some mosques, when there is a sign of rain, if it is cloudy and maybe it's beginning to drizzle after Maghrib, some do combine the Salat. So they immediately after Maghrib, they start the Salat in Isha.
No.
Now my question is, what is the severity of the condition of raining? Must it be raining heavily, flooding, such that when you go back home, it will be difficult to come back for Isha. So is it necessary to combine, or rather to immediately after Maghrib, perform Salat Isha?
No.
This is where I want clarification, please, Ya Sheikh.
Sure. Assalamu alaikum. Sumayya from the KSA.
Wa alaikum salam, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the program.
I have two questions.
Naam.
The first is regarding inheritance.
Naam.
It's usually the custom that while dividing the property of the father, the daughter is given money equivalent to the amount of her share without her choice. So giving like that is okay, or does she have the right to ask for her share of property itself?
Okay. In what sense? She was given an amount of money equivalent to her property without her choice? You mean if the properties, for instance, buildings and lands and so on, so the heirs decide to give you some cash instead of taking a flat or a building or a property, right?
Yeah.
No. Okay, it is your right to ask for a property or a share in the property. It's got to be due to a mutual agreement. No one of the heirs should consider himself or herself superior to others, or give himself or herself the right to divide to others shares which he do not desire and preserve for himself or herself what they like. You guys have to all sit together and with a mutual agreement decide the inheritance in the light of the inheritance law as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated. So it is not their right to give you some cash equivalent to your share and kick you out. Only if you agree to that, and the amount of cash should be the market value. It's not something that you exaggerate to take advantage of, or something less than the market value so that they take advantage of you. Neither one is permissible. Second question, Sumayya.
Its second question is regarding the celebration of National Day. Today is the National Day of Saudi Arabia, and being an Islamic country, we see a lot of celebrations going on. What advice would you like to give to the government, Islamic governments who claim that their country is Islamic? So what advice would you like to give to people who celebrate National Day?
It's very interesting today. I read in the news that the celebrations were cancelled. And that was a good move, especially with the current situation in Syria. I believe all the Muslim countries should really keep in mind that there is a Muslim country that is under fire, and there are Sunni Muslims who are being massacred on a daily basis. So it won't be befitting to celebrate and have fun something like that while there is another Muslim country that is suffering. So I really applaud postponing the celebrations or cancelling the celebrations as I read in the news. I hope I read it right and this is true information. Barakallah feeki Sumayya. Thank you. Tahir from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum ya Tahir.
Sheikh, I have a couple of questions. In fact, these two questions are linked to each other.
Okay, Tahir, can you hear me?
Yes.
Please try to redial again because the line is not clear at all. You're breaking off. Please try again. Jazakallah khairan. Thank you. Jamshid from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. How are you?
Wonderful. Alhamdulillah. Barakallah feek.
But I just wanted two small questions. My first question is, when the Imam is reciting, say, Dhuhr prayer or Asr prayer, then he keeps silent. And if we are reading a surah and the Imam goes for the ruku, shall we stop then and there or complete the surah and then go to the ruku?
Okay.
And the second question is, I have seen a few people after praying, they just spit a little bit and they then wipe up their head and all the body the way Prophet ﷺ used to do in the night when he was going to sleep. So is it allowed to do it after every prayer?
Okay, I would like to hear your second question one more time, please.
Yeah, second question is, I have seen so many people after finishing prayer and the zikr, what they do, they spit or something on their hand and then they start rubbing their head and body the way Prophet used to do in the time of sleeping, when in the night he used to sleep.
I see. Okay, wiping over the face.
Yes, yeah,
Now.
and all the whole body.
I see.
So can we do it after finishing every prayer also?
Naam, okay.
No, or not. That's all.
Okay, Barakallahu feek. Brother Tahir again from Emirates. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the program. We hope you have a better connection this time.
Wa alaikum assalam. Yes. Can you hear me
now
well?
we're talking.
Okay. Sheikh, I have two questions, and in fact, both of them are linked together.
Naam.
I asked these questions earlier as well through various programs, but I'm still looking for some satisfactory answers.
Naam.
The question is related to Shafa'at Rasul.
Naam.
And it's there in different ahadith in Sahih Bukhari that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam will do shafa'at of ummah, and all of the Muslims will be entered in Jannah inshallah because of this shafa'at. And in one case it's that everyone will go into Jannah. In another cases in Quran we see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses to the mu'mineen and warn them about the grave punishment in the hellfire, etc. if we don't follow the commandments. So these two are different things, that at one side we've been warned about the punishments, and another side we get this this blessed naweed that we're gonna get the Jannah inshallah. Every Muslim is gonna get the Jannah because of shafa'at. And in support to this, there's another hadith in which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that every Muslim, whoever has the iman, and then he mentioned different levels of iman, to the point that even if he has an iman to the size of the mustard seed, will enter Jannah. So how we're going to accept these things, accept in a form that how do we understand these things in a way that one side in Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns us about the punishment to the Al-Iman for not following the commandments. And another side we have the Shafa'at al-Rasul, and also we've the blessed news that we're going to enter the Jannah if we have the level of Iman as small as the size of mustard seed.
Brother Tahir, I don't see any conflict. I don't see any contradiction. It is very obvious that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in many positions in the Quran. I would choose for them, for instance, one of them in Surah Al-Qari'ah, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said on the day of judgment, which one of its names is Al-Qari'ah, Al-Haqa, Al-Sakha, Al-Tamma, etc. He said, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى. Whosoever does an atom weight of good shall see it. This is in Surah Al-Zalzala. And in Surah Al-Qari'ah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَمَّا مَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَهُوَ فِي عِيشَةٍ رَاضِيَةٍ وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَأُمُّهُ هَاوِيَةٌ. Which means if one's good deeds were heavier and outweighed the bad deeds, then he will be saved and he will enter paradise by the leave of Allah and by His mercy. But if his bad deeds, even if he is a Muslim, if his bad deeds outweigh his good deeds, he will be sent to fire to be purified from his sins. The Sirat, the bridge above Jahannam, has hooks on both sides. People who have committed adultery, people who have committed theft, people who will be hooked down, will be purified. The intercession does not contradict all of that. The first step of intercession is for the dismissal, to be dismissed from the scene, from the day. The length of will be 50,000 years of our time. When, as you all heard, that all mankind will go to Adam, then to Nuh, to Ibrahim, to Musa, to Isa, and finally to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to intercede before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to begin the reckoning, to begin the hisab. It is true that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, one who has even an atom weight of iman will not reside in fire. It doesn't mean that he will not see fire. He will not reside eternally in fire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take out of fire and send to heaven each and every person who has an atom weight of good. But there are many people who have not done any good in their lives. Yet they said, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, but they did not fulfill its rights. They were not praying regularly. They did not pay their zakah. They committed major sins. They will be purified from those sins. Remember also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the greatest ayah of the Quran, مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَشْفَعُ عِنْدَهُ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِهِ. Who is that? He who can intercede with him or before him, except by his leave. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would allow the Prophet to intercede by his leave and permission to certain people. On the other hand, there are some people whom the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would observe around the hawd, the basin of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or his river. And he would say, these guys are my ummah. They belong to me, I know them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will object and will say to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, nay, they are not your ummah. They don't belong to your ummah. They did in this life seem to belong to your ummah, but in fact they don't. إِنَّكَ لَا تَدْرِي مَا أَحْدَثُوا بَعْدَكَ. You don't know what they have invented after you. At that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will deny his intercession, which he began, and he say, فَسُحْقًا سُحْقًا. Go to hell. Hell with them. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has informed him, those guys who bore Muslim names, they don't deserve to be with you in paradise. Those guys have changed. Others changed their faith, their aqeedah, they objected to the word of Allah. They didn't want Allah and His law to rule them. Many things like that. There are many deviant sects, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informed us, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when this ummah will be divided, all the sects will be deviant except for one party. So we have to keep in mind that also the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there will be some bankrupt people who would come on the Day of Judgment. They don't need shafa'ah for now because they already have mountains of good deeds. But these mountains of good deeds will be blown away because they will be divided amongst those who have rights with them. He hurt somebody's feeling, he committed theft, stole somebody's property, he backbited somebody else, he hurt somebody, or there are a list of huquq al-ibad, the rights of the humans. So each person will come on the Day of Judgment and will take from his good deeds, from the oppressor's good deeds, from the oppressor's good deeds, until they vanish. Then the angel will take from the bad deeds of the oppressed ones and cast upon the oppressor. So now he ran out of good deeds and he has mountains of sayyat. He has to be in fire to be purified. There is no conflict between the two meanings nor contradiction. It's very obvious. Those who will be purified in fire will not exit from fire except also by the means of shafa'ah, intercession. But after the Prophet ﷺ will intercede, the prophets will intercede, the awliya will intercede, the malaikah, the angels will intercede, family members will intercede for their own family members and beloved ones, and the shuhada, the shaheed, will intercede for 70 of his family members, and so on. It doesn't mean that it will waive the rights, but they will be purified from their sins. according to the divine law, the justice, the divine justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are not like Christians. Christians believe that God sacrificed His Son for our sins, and that's why they do as they wish. Simply, there is no restrictions. Simply, there is nothing haram. Everything they can do. Why? Because somebody was sacrificed for our sins. No matter how much sins you commit, you will end up in paradise. The Jews likewise, قالوا لن تمسنا النار إلا أياما معدودة. They said, oh, fire is not created for us because we are the Jews. We are the chosen children of God. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, prove it. فَلِمَ يُعَذِّبُكُمْ بِذُنُوبِكُمْ. Why would God punish you in this life or in the hereafter if you are the chosen sons or children of God? مَنْ عَمِلَ صَالِحًا فَلِنَفْسِهِ وَمَنْ أَسَاءَ فَعَلَيْهَا. It's not simply because you are a Muslim or you are a Sayyid or belonging to the Prophet and his family, whether you are his descendant or a direct son or daughter of the Prophet ﷺ, that means you'll go to heaven directly. It has nothing to do with that. The Quran and Islam establishes the concept of the self-responsibility. لا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى من يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. The first ayah which I quoted, or two ayat of Surah Az-Zalzala. Whoever does an atom weight of good shall see it, and whosoever does an atom weight of evil shall see it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Meher from the KSA, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead please, sister.
Yeah, I have 4 questions.
Now.
Okay, my first question is, I had been suffering from TB for 2 years, and I was advised not to fast for 2 years, for 2 Ramadan, those years.
No.
But what I did was I had given money to the poor to eat.
No.
But do I... And my second question is, can I have fast?
Okay, Sister Meher, I missed the remaining part of the question. Your voice faded, so I couldn't hear. The voice faded, I couldn't hear the question. You said you're suffering from TB. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you shifa, instant shifa, ya Rab. And you missed fasting for 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, what was the question then?
Yeah. I paid money for the poor instead of me fasting.
No.
But still, do I have to compensate for that fast?
Okay, have you recovered?
Yeah, I have recovered, alhamdulillah.
Okay, alhamdulillah, shukla. Okay, I will answer you. Yes. Second question.
Okay, and second question, can I do a voluntary fast on Jumu'ah?
Okay. You mean you single out?
Okay, and the
you single out Jumu'ah with fasting, right?
No, not only Jumu'ah. Yeah, just like this Shawwal, I got only the last week for fasting, and so I was confused whether to fast on Jumu'ah or not.
No. Okay.
Okay, and the third is my parents' house is about 1,000 kilometers from my house, and if I go to their house, can I combine my Zuhr and Asr prayers at home, staying at home, at my mother's home?
How long are you staying?
2 days only.
Okay. I will begin by answering the last question. It is the easiest. Yes, it's a travel distance, even though you're visiting your parents, but you're staying for less than 4 days and you're a traveler, you get to combine and shorten the prayer. Singling out Friday with fasting is prohibited. So you should have fasted either a day before or a day after, because Friday is a Eid day. As far as your sickness, alhamdulillah, thanks to Allah that He cured you and you recovered. Al-Qada, or making up the missed days during Ramadan is due and mandatory whenever the person has, we call it a disease that is temporary, or a temporary sickness. But al-fidya is prescribed in case of chronic ailment, somebody who is not expected to recover, somebody who has a disease with which he can never fast, senility, liver cirrhosis, renal failure, heart failure, wal-'iyadu billah, any of these diseases. Or a pregnant woman or woman who got sick even with TB, as long as you're expecting to recover, so you should make up those days. Barakallah fikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum, Sheikh. My name is Fawaz.
Fawaz from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Sheikh, my question is, if we are going to the Prophet's Mosque in Medina, how are we supposed to behave? What are we supposed to be doing with regard to our prayers? I go there, and a lot of people actually tell me, can I give salam on their behalf?
No.
Which I don't understand what this means actually.
No.
So can you please explain what we're supposed to do?
Okay. The etiquette of visiting the prophetic masjid and the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is permissible to give ziyarah to the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the merits of that, when you give salam to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah the Almighty will render back the soul to him, so that he will reply to you directly. Say, and may peace and blessings be upon you. The etiquette is simply to stand before the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam politely with quietness, complete quietness, and you say, Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabiyyu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you want to send the Durood Sharif, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, if there is a chance, fine. If there is none, it would be sufficient to step forward and give the greeting to Abu Bakr, then to Umar ibn Khattab, because of the crowd and everybody in the line waiting to do the same. That's it. If you ever wish to make dua, which is recommended, it should be after you finish the ziyarah, you turn 180 and you face the Qibla. Because if you will be facing the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, you will be giving your back to the Qibla. And the etiquette of making dua is to face the Qibla, not to give your back to the Qibla. Many people spare their dua to be in front of the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, and this is what the Prophet ﷺ prohibited. He said in the sound hadith, لا تجعلوا بيوتكم قبورا ولا تجعلوا قبري عيدا. The grave of the Prophet ﷺ is to give the ziyarah and to give the salam, not to make dua, not to seek his help, not to ask from him or to seek refuge with him sallallahu alayhi wasallam. As far as giving salam to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, any person at the convenience of his house, his room or his bedroom, can definitely give salam to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he said in the same hadith, وَصَلُّوا عَلَيَّ فَإِنَّ صَلَاتَكُمْ تَبْلُغُنِي حَيْثُ كُنْتُمْ أَوْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. Wheresoever you are, send your peace and blessings upon me. Recite the Durood Sharif, as-salah wa taslim upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It would definitely reach me wheresoever you are sending from. You don't have to be standing before the Prophet ﷺ. So this is something that is confirmed in the sound hadith. I would rather do that by myself instead of doing something which is disputed, whether am I allowed to do it or not, because I don't know. It was not prescribed by the Prophet ﷺ, and the companions of the Prophet ﷺ did not discuss it. So every time I miss the Prophet ﷺ, every time I'd like to be blessed, I say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. This is a sound hadith collected by Imam Muslim and narrated by Ka'b ibn Ujra. May Allah be pleased with him. He said, a man came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, we already know how to give salam to you. Assalamu alayka, peace be with you. What about as-salah? How to send the salah upon you? He said, say, then he recited as-salat al-Ibrahimiyya. We call it al-Ibrahimiyya because we say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama sallayta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim. Oh Allah, salli ala Muhammad. Praise Muhammad. Admire Muhammad in the gathering of the angels. Bless Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, as you did bless Ibrahim alayhi salam, Prophet Abraham and his family. Wabarik, likewise, bless Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So as-salah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the praise and as-thana and the praise. Then from the angels, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Ahzab, إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَمَلَائِكَتَهُ يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى النَّبِيِّ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا صَلُّوا عَلَيْهِ وَسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. The ayah says, I believe it's 56 or 57 of Surah Al-Ahzab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, verily Allah and His angels, so the heaven, Allah and the dwellers of heaven, are doing salah upon the Prophet ﷺ, then he's calling on the believers, the dwellers of earth, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا صَلُّوا عَلَيْهِ وَسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. You too should join this wonderful company and send the peace and the blessings upon the Prophet ﷺ. So we learn what is the meaning of as-salah from Allah upon the Prophet ﷺ, or even upon the believers. هو الذي يصلي عليكم وملائكته ليخرجكم من الظلمات إلى النور. Also in Surah Al-Ahzab, it is the blessings and the good praise. And from al-malaika, al-malaika, they send salah upon the Prophet ﷺ. That means they invoke Allah to bless the Prophet ﷺ, to raise his status, and to praise the Prophet ﷺ. And as-salah of the angels upon the believers is to seek forgiveness for them and to ask Allah to send down His mercy upon them. Assalamu alaikum. Yusuf from Morocco.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I have three questions, please.
Naam.
First question is, a non-Muslim family member would like to leave money for Muslim family members. None of them are dependent on this family member, but she wants to know if she can give it in a way that's halal, such as leaving a joint account that they can't access. She just wants to know if there's a way that's possible without them accessing the money at this point.
I heard it, or this is how I understood it, a non-Muslim family would like to give some money to a Muslim family or a Muslim family member. Is it true?
Yeah, a non-Muslim family member would like to leave inheritance for Muslim family members.
Okay, that's a new addition, which is inheritance. Now the story is different. Because in life, the person can leave his entire wealth, whether a Muslim or a non-Muslim. That's fine. But the inheritance, no, because the Prophet ﷺ ordered that there is no inheritance between two different religions. So if they like to give that in their lives, or a part of that, that will be 100% permissible. But afterward, it is not. I mean, it's not permissible for a Muslim to inherit a non-Muslim, nor vice versa. Second question. Yeah, go ahead, Yusuf. Okay, anyway, we're going to take a short break, and please give Sister Yusuf a priority. She has 2 more questions to ask. Stay tuned.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose whom He wills subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy, for His messengership, for the revelation to be revealed. This is not for the human beings to make that decision. If a person would turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely, truthfully, asking for forgiveness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised to forgive. We have as Muslims a duty, and that is to recite the book of Allah, to ponder over the verses, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to act according to the Quran. The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses everything, but who would this mercy will be for? And the Prophet ﷺ was sent to all mankind. So the ummah, or the people of the Prophet ﷺ, are all mankind since the time of the Prophet ﷺ till the day of judgment. Why waste our life without getting to know every verse in the Quran, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us?
Satanic Verses 1988, Dutch Cartoons 2005, Pope Benedict's Anti-Islam Statements 2006, The Innocence of Muslims movie and the latest French cartoons 2012. When will this stop? And the subsequent worldwide violence. Islam says no to such hate that hate produced.
Love is not a word, it's not just a word, brothers and sisters. So why do you take the initiative and inflame the feelings of Muslims?
This violates all freedom of speech. This goes beyond any concept of Western values and freedom of speech for sure.
This is not free speech, this is called hate speech. How to reach to the other side and let them understand us as well, and know what hurts us and what is not, they're supposed not to get close to in their own language. The media here also plays a very important role.
It's totally illogical to defend our religion and our prophets in Arabic. We have to defend them in those people's language.
Since its inception in 2005, Huda TV has been undertaking the role of peacefully defending the Prophet, peace be upon him, in the best of manners.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله.
I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah, alone without partner, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his slave and messenger.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Actually, the first caller was Musa from Nigeria, and his question was about combining the prayer in the masjid in case of rain or wind. He asked about the measure, the severity, how severe should it be in order to be given the concession to combine Maghrib and Isha together. For instance, you just pray Isha along with Maghrib and you don't come back. That is left up to the judgment of the local people, because it doesn't have to be an extremely heavy rain. Sometimes it is just showering or sprinkles, but it's slippery that you walk, you slip, so it is dangerous, or it's expected to get worse. Why? The catch in all of that is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the illah, the effective cause. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر. The purpose of worship is to bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to burden you, not to hurt you, not to make your life miserable. So if it will be easier for you in the light of the concession to combine Isha along with Maghrib so that you pray both of them in Jama'ah, and the Imam says it's going to be risky to come back for Isha, so let's pray Maghrib and Isha at the time of Maghrib and go home. That is permissible. As I say, it may be just sprinkling, but it's slippery, it's very dangerous, and we have seen that. Similarly with the wind, also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. If this is too dangerous for you, even if it is just a little bit of rain, then it's a concession. You are allowed to combine the prayers in this regard. Of course, we're talking about the Jama'ah. You don't do that on your own and you take a hike and you say, well, I already prayed Maghrib and Isha, because your judgment will be singular judgment. Maybe it will be, it will not be the best judgment in the light of everybody else is doing the opposite. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Naam. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah?
I have 2 questions.
Please go ahead. Name, please.
Okay. If a woman is in Iddah, can she attend the Eid prayer and the lunch at her in-laws' house where they do the sacrifice and etc.?
Okay.
And the second question is, can women pray in public? So if they're out and about, there's no masjid available, no home for them to go to, can they pray, say, in a park or something like that?
Okay.
Okay.
These are only 2 questions. You say 3. Okay. Jazakumullahu khairan. Okay. Jamshid from United Arab Emirates said if the Imam is leading the prayer and he's kind of fast, or the ma'moom is kind of slow, he's praying with a slow motion, he likes to recite very slowly, because sometimes a slow ma'moom or follower perceives the imam as very fast, and vice versa. So let's put it this way. Then the imam went for ruku' and the person is still reciting. If it is an ayah to finish it up, because you still have up to 3 tasbihs as minimum for the imam to recite, or otherwise he will be really too fast. Okay, but to say I gotta finish the whole surah, no, because the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا جُعِلَ الْإِمَامُ لِيُؤْتَمَّ بِهِ. Why do we appoint an imam? To lead the prayer. فَإِذَا كَبَّرَ فَكَبِّرُوا. When the imam makes takbir, follow him. When he makes ruku', follow him. When he rises up from ruku', follow him. And that would lead us to another very important concept, which is, what if the imam is too fast? I can barely read Surah Al-Fatiha, especially in the silent prayer. He mentioned the Dhuhr. Average person cannot read Surah Al-Fatiha. Then depart the imam. It was not just one rak'ah. It's like I'm in a race. The imam is racing with us. I just say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, very average recitation. Everybody is trying to recite and he's in ruku'. You try to catch him in ruku' and he's really like racing with us. There are some people like that. In this case, you are permitted to skip the jama'ah and pray on your own. There is another hukm, which is, if the person is too slow and he missed 2 rukns, 2 consecutive rukns. A rukn, which means a pillar, a rukn such as standing and reading, a rukn such as ruku', a rukn such as sujood, then he misses the jama'ah and he prays on his own. But if it is only 1 rukn, like I was reciting Surah Al-Fatiha and I barely recited Surah Al-Ikhlas, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ, then the imam said Allahu Akbar. I said it's only a couple of short ayat. لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ. I was going to say Allahu Akbar, and the imam rose up from ruku' and he said سَمِعَ اللَّهُ لِمَنْ حَمِدَ. What am I supposed to do? Is my prayer invalid? No. Go for ruku' even though the imam is already in the standing position. And it was not your error. Go for ruku', say Subhana Rabbiyal Azim at least once, then rise up. It will be only, you will depart the jama'ah if you miss 2 consecutive rukn, like you missed the ruku' and you also missed 1 sajda. In this case, you are on your own. Praying in public. If a woman is in a public place, can she pray? She should pray, and she should find a sutra. She should find a sutra. If she is in a park, if she is in a public place, she should find a place where she can pray, where her back will be towards something, an object, a tree or something, and she puts a sutra in front of her. And a group of Muslim women can also establish their jama'ah. Normally, if we go to picnic or something like that, we have our masturas or sisters, wives and daughters with us, so that we pray in jama'ah. We have the men in front of us and women in the rear as the regular setup. So no one would dare to look at them or inspect them, because everybody is praying. But if a woman is by herself, then if she is afraid that she's going to miss the prayer time, then in this case she should still pray in jama'ah and make sure that she's praying in a place she would seek the sutra or concealment as much as possible. Okay. Brother Saeed from the case, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh.
Do me a favor and mute your TV set, please. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, sure, Sheikh. I have 2 questions.
No.
One is, see, my father-in-law, he is rich in mean to say that he is holding millions of, maybe 100 millions of rupees property.
No,
but he lives in a condition which is very pathetic. You know, he doesn't want to live in a good condition. He has another daughter. Nobody wants to come to the house seeing the condition of the house. Age is passing off. But this man doesn't want to dispose anything, wants to help his other kids. can I give my father-in-law my zakat money? No doubt, I am less rich, and maybe he is holding 150 millions of rupees of property, but he doesn't want to dispose anything.
Okay, so
he
probably
doesn't want to spend any money to his kids.
Probably you'll give him your zakah money so that he can buy another property.
He can do that way.
Okay,
but
no.
Is it allowed for me to give a zakat money for this?
Definitely not. It will not be permissible, and you will have to repay your zakah to the poor, to those who are eligible, because it is their right. Have you ever done it before and gave such rich person? And it's really pathetic. I feel sorry for him because...
Achha, can I give it for their kids?
For?
For his kids.
Okay, let me tell you this. In order to answer this question and all similar questions, go to Surah At-Tawbah, ayah number 60. What does it say? إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين. فقراء, poor. If somebody is poor, but if somebody is a multi-millionaire as you're describing, but I'm sorry, he's stingy. I'm not talking about your father, I'm talking about whoever. There are a lot of people like that. That's why I say I feel pathetic.
My second question is, hello?
Why? Because they harvest all this money and they don't enjoy it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. You're supposed to show the blessings of Allah and His bounties upon you. If you're rich, very rich, why not live in a nice house? Why not have a maid? Why not eat good food? Drive a nice car? Why not help your family members, your children? Can you imagine somebody whom you're saying that he's a multi-millionaire, and you're asking whether it's permissible to give zakat to his children or not? كَفَى بِالْمَرْءِ إِثْمًا أَنْ يُضَيِّعَ مَنْ يَعُودُ. Second question, please.
Yeah. The thing is, during the first prayer in masjid, we are supposed to stand side by side. You know what I feel? Some people, they try their maximum to widen their legs so that the lateral borders must touch. So we are standing definitely shoulder to shoulder. Our bodies are touching. But few people, I notice that they try maximum to, touch. Unless they touch, they will not. If they keep on touching you.
What about some who would like to step on your foot?
I have to just stand and stand shoulder to shoulder.
Okay. What about some who would like to step on your foot? Neither this nor that is permissible. When a person stands up in the prayer, whether individually or in jama'ah, the gap between his 2 feet should be equivalent to the width of his chest. That's it. This is the room that you need and deserve to occupy. Because when you open your legs, an open angle, you're definitely stepping on somebody's foot or toe, and you're taking a room from somebody else. You're forcing somebody to stand like this. So if every person stands up properly and have just a gap enough so that the distance between his feet from foot to foot is like the width of his chest or his body or his trunk, then everybody will be happy and will pray in peace. Some people occupy the entire prayer with trying to fill in the gaps. And if you try to distance yourself from him, he keeps chasing you. And it is not a prayer. The person will just waste his time defending himself from the attacks of the person next to him. Just occupy yourself with yourself, and every person tries to keep in mind that as-salah is all about mercy. We should have mercy on each other. Barakallahu feekum. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. And until next time on Tuesday, inshallah, I leave you in the care of Allah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
What's her choice? So giving like that is okay, or does she have the right to ask for her share of property itself?
Okay. In what sense? She was given an amount of money equivalent to her property without her
Yes.
choice, you mean if the properties, for instance, buildings and lands and so on, so the heirs decide to give you some cash instead of taking a flat or a building or a property, right?
Yeah.
No. Okay, it is your right to ask for a property or a share in the property. It's got to be due to a mutual agreement. No one of the heirs should consider himself or herself superior to others, or give himself or herself the right to divide to others shares which he do not desire and preserve for himself or herself what they like. You guys have to all sit together and with a mutual agreement decide the inheritance in the light of the inheritance law as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated. So it is not their right to give you some cash equivalent to your share and kick you out. Only if you agree to that, and the amount of cash should be the market value. It's not something that you exaggerate to take advantage of, or something less than the market value so that they take advantage of you. Neither one is permissible. Second question, Sumaya.
Its second question is regarding the celebration of National Day. Today is the National Day of Saudi Arabia, and being an Islamic country, we see a lot of celebrations going on. What advice would you like to give to the government, Islamic governments who claim that their country is Islamic? So what advice would you like to
The question first. You cannot say slaughter an animal in the name of the Prophet. Only in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will explain the other case after I take a few calls, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, ya Sheikh.
Brother Musa from Nigeria, welcome to Ask Huda.
Thank you, Sheikh. I have a question with regards to combining Salat, particularly Maghrib and Isha, when it is raining. I've observed that in some mosques, when there is a sign of rain, if it is cloudy and maybe it's beginning to drizzle after Maghrib, some do combine the Salat. So they immediately after Maghrib, they start the Salat in Isha.
No.
Now my question is, what is the severity of the condition of raining? Must it be raining heavily, flooding, such that when you go back home, it will be difficult to come back for Isha. So is it necessary to combine, or rather to immediately after Maghrib, perform Salat in Isha? This is where I want clarification, please, Ya Sheikh.
Sure. Assalamu alaikum. Sumaya from the KSA.
Wa alaikum salam, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the program.
I have two questions.
Naam.
The first is regarding inheritance.
Naam.
It's usually the custom that while dividing the property of the father, the daughter is given money equivalent to the amount of her share without...
Do for our dead relatives. Okay, let me explain one thing. When we say slaughter an animal in the name of, then when you fill in the spaces, there is only one word that is valid to write it down there, which is in the name of Allah. You're not allowed to slaughter an animal to consume its meat in the name of anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As a matter of fact, in Surah Al-An'am, which means the cattle, in ayah number 121, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَإِنَّهُ لَفِسْقٌ. And don't you eat from an animal which even lawful for us to consume its meat if the name of Allah was not mentioned at the time of the sacrifice, or if the name of other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been mentioned or recited at the time of sacrifice. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَإِنَّهُ لَفِسْقٌ وَإِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ لَيُوحُونَ إِلَىٰ أَوْلِيَائِهِمْ لِيُجَادِلُوكُمْ. Satan's inspired the disbelievers to argue with the Prophet ﷺ and with the believers pertaining the process of at-tadhkiyah and the sacrifice, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that it is prohibited for us to eat from the dead animal or consume the meat of a dead animal. Let it be a cow, a sheep, a goat, a chicken. If it is dead, if he was suffocated, congested, beaten up, fell off a high place and it died, then it is called dead.
Huda, a light in every home.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأولين والآخرين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to a new edition of your program Ask Huda. In this program we normally receive your valuable questions and concerns, and we do our best to answer them in the light of the Quran and the sound Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In order to do that, we have some contact informations for you, beginning with the phone numbers. Area code 002-0238-555-248 or 249, and the email address is ask@huda.tv. We have some pending questions. We'll go through them while you are trying to dial in, inshallah. Brother or sister Nadeem from India, the name goes for both, is asking, is it permissible to slaughter an animal in the name of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like with maita, only if it was slaughtered properly and sacrificed in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it becomes lawful for us to eat. So they said, you guys are very weird. This is the inspiration of Satan to the disbelievers, to argue with the believers. They said, how come you eat from something that you kill by your own hand, and you do not eat from something which Allah has killed? This is of course an empty argument, because the one who said you eat from this and you do not eat from that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَيْتَةَ وَالدَّمَ وَلَحْمَ الْخِنْزِيرِ. The list of the prohibitions, who made it prohibited? Allah. And he said, if an animal died naturally, or due to falling from a high place, or being suffocated or strangled or killed by any other mean other than the sacrifice, which would cut the jugular veins and drain the blood in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then don't eat from it. And he called this argument is an inspiration or a whisper of a shaitan. So this is number one. Then when I came to read the last phrase of your question, when you said, like we do for our dead relatives, I benefited another meaning, which is that you do slaughter animals, but not in the name of the dead relatives. I believe you mean you slaughter them in order to give them in a charity and give the reward of this charity or feed in the poor to your dead relatives. Okay, now the story is different. So it is very important to correct